It's time for our next Tech Talk. So with a great pleasure, I would like to welcome our speaker, Mr. Haitham Saif, the System Engineer Manager of Juniper Networks, to the stage, please. I would like to welcome our panelists, CIOs, Ashrith Paritrinyath from Massa Capital, Mohammed Menarashi from Ministry of Finance, Dr. Aladdin Al-Badauna from ADNOC Offshore, Abdullah Rakadi, Ministry of Health, Oman.
Assalamu alaikum. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much. I know we are late on the schedule. Everyone is on a rush for a weekend, and I hope you will all have a nice weekend. So I want to discuss 2 points today. So the first is about the digital transformation. We understand it is a top priority for most of organizations. And the second is about why creating a software layer inside your network is very essential, also moving into the cloud and the multi-cloud. So if we will start with the digital transformation, it's a top priority. And if we want to put the technical aspect of the digital transformation and what exactly does it mean. So the first thing is about to put the information and data in some digital forms. The second is creating a modern applications that can process this data and information. And the third, it is how to deliver the services to the end user. The advantages for digital transformation is well known. It's a service, always on service availability, extended reach of the services, and a better business to consumers and governments to citizen relationship in general. If we think about the network as the service delivery platform for a digitally transformed services, it becomes very essential, a must, to have an efficient network, a transport system that can you rely on to deliver the services. And if we look at a more deep definition about what is an efficient network will look like, we're talking about, from Juniper definition, and I believe if somebody disagrees, please raise a hand, is to have a highly performance network that can deliver the services, a reliable services delivery, a reliable network to provide that, a simple, so people, users, operations, and softwares can simply use, and secure. Absolutely, security is a top priority as well. And the last thing is to be open to be able to connect with other applications or digital transform system to create a concept, we call it the digital cohesion, which is, we believe, is the next step in the digital transformation journey. It is very exciting time for us at Juniper. We have been provided service providers with their network and transport system, IP transport system, for the last 20 years. And to see that having the same demand, the same dependencies on the network and transport is positioning Juniper at the core of our customers' business and digital transformation journey. The second, maybe I touch it briefly, is about the digital cohesion. What does it mean? So digital transformation is about creating a discrete system in the data center or in the cloud that can provide us services. Now, if we think about the possibilities of interconnecting multiple digitally transformed systems into a single services, a bigger services. So if we think about, for example, a self-driving system connected with a retail industry, with a banking industry, to create a set of services that can automate the process from placing an order to deliver the goods, to charge the bank accounts. Today, networks are not designed and they are not capable to do that for a lot of constraints. First of all, there is always a physical nature of where you place your equipment, which is the cloud and data centers. And here it's very important to move into a software layer because software can move, can be installed everywhere. So there is no physical constraint anymore. And if we think about just how this will disrupt the industry in general, it's not only to provide a technology services, but if we think about a complete automated, technology-driven services from, as I said, a smart fridge, understand what exactly needed, connecting to a retail shop, ordering the equipments, automated delivery of the door. So now this is innovative, but the disruption will happen here is about what is other businesses depending on the services. For example, the insurance company. For example, the supply chain. And today applications are ready basically to do that because we have a lot of technologies evolvements that's happening like on IoT, the blockchain industry, the machine learning, that is ready to take this into the next level. But the network is not ready to take that into the next level. And what we see is most of the networking vendors today is building a platform that can allow enterprises, organizations to deliver this set of services, and what we call it is the digital cohesion service. So I am open to any question. I'm open to understand how is the network is important for your digital transformation journey as well, and what are the constraints you see today that's challenging this journey moving forward. Mike?
Okay, let me start with the first question, or to understand things now. Now, if we talk about transformation from the government point of view, what we are looking to is a change management. We want to change our people, we want to change our services, and to get all those things to our citizens.
Yeah.
This is how we understand transformation, the word
absolutely.
transformation. So from that point, things start happening. We talk about technology, we talk about regulations, we talk about security, we talk about many things that comes after that. So the definition, I think the definition of transformation is totally different between the companies and the vendors and what they are trying to offer to us, and how the government is understanding that thing. Not all solutions that came in the market is applicable or doable, or we could implement them in the government, because sometimes you need to change your regulations.
Culture.
You have to make programs for change management for your people, even for your employees internally, and for the society itself. So how, from that point, the infrastructure is an enabler, is the thing that helps to deliver your service. So if I am looking to the network, as you was asking, let me try to see in Saudi Arabia, we try now to implement a fiber optic network to all the houses, to all homes, to each and everyone. But did that infrastructure helps? Is it only a fiber optic? Is it only to change your core routers or your core switches that connect all things together? And what about the cost of that thing? Who will pay for the cost? And we know that we are talking about infrastructure. Every 3 to 6 months, new things happen, new ideas came, and whatever investment you have or you pay for is totally old. So between the speed or the expedite of the infrastructure or the hardware technologies and the bureaucracy of the government rules and the movement to implement those things. We need to find a middle ground between those two for us as a government to catch up with all those things that happens in the market.
So it's very important 2 points. No, absolutely, it is fine. So because you have touched very important points. The first is digital transformation is not related only to technology. There is a human process. There is a cultural acceptance of a digitally transformed services. Like maybe on the banking is leading this transformation because the culture that accept the services they are offer are accepted to be available online. Maybe on a hospital, to have a telemedicine, maybe it's not something completely acceptable by the patients. Right? So absolutely, there is part of the culture, of the change process, of what would have an impact, for example, on employees, on internal processes. Yes, digital transformation is very wide subject. So my focus was about the technology itself, right? The technical aspect of the digital transformation, because again, digital transformation is a strategy. It has to be driven from a business, then the network, the technologies, the compute, the storage are only enablers. So the second thing is how fast technology is evolving. And sometimes the speed of the technologies are much faster than the adaptation of the technologies, especially that procurement has to go through a longer process. And this is when I spoke about being open, moving into a software layer, right? It is very critical as well because software doesn't need, the long supply chains, the long installation services. So it is a software, right? And we have seen this is happening on the application level, on the operating system level. So they are much more evolved very quickly, and the usability, the consumption of those services are also much more quicker. But yeah, it is absolutely a challenge that technology is moving very fast. We just finished one technology, and one of the example I put is the transition from 2G to 3G, for example. And today, if we talk about the 3G to 5G, it is much more faster, and it puts a pressure on the network itself because there is a lot of more traffic. Data created over the last 2 years is more than the data that has been created on the history. It's not only about the digital or a manual. It is the data in general. So there is a lot of amount of data. Oh, absolutely. It is part of it. So yes, but what we provide, once the culture acceptance is there, the process is there, the IT department sometimes they are facing a challenge how to transform the business requirements, right, to a technology or to a services. And this is where the network can play a major part in able to provide the services to the consumers. And the result, as you said, it's enhanced relationship between the government and citizens, and the government and government services as well.
Well, I would like to thank you first of all for the quick talk.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you are on time. I give you big hands for that.
Thanks.
And I hope our questions will be shorter than you. So let's put it that way. I'm from the healthcare domain. And we all knew that from security perspective is the most attacked or wanted domain.
Absolutely.
So where Juniper rank themselves comparing to the other competitors on the cybersecurity, especially others are having a full solutions, including applications and network. So up to my understanding, Juniper is still looking, and might be this is differentiate from others, where they are focusing more on the network sides rather than application sides or entire solutions. So my simple question is where Juniper stands from the competitors.
Okay. So let me answer this. When it comes to security, I don't think we are, as Juniper or any other competitor, or I would rather call them other vendors, they are colleagues, and we are all working to solve one problem. So I would position us as different companies, but we are working for the same goal. So security is not something that a single vendor can solve. It's not Juniper, it's not anyone else, right? And it starts with the process, right? And it starts with the data. On the healthcare, in specific, there is a lot of compliance standards that need to be there in order to protect the medical records, right? Which is the most critical assets when it comes to security on the healthcare. Our strategy at Juniper is, hence now the dependencies on the network, is to give the network some security information, right? To be able to prioritize the traffic, to permit the traffic, or to stop the traffic at the network level. Because what has been happening over the last year, that we build the network, then we will try to secure it, right? We put the data, try to secure it. And we ended up adding multiple layers of security from firewall, IPSs, antivirus, just to solve one specific issue. But from a network perspective, the network doesn't understand that there is even a risk. So what we're trying is to put a glue between the security detection and the security policy enforcement, and to use the network itself as security enforcement domain. And thinking about it from a software strategy layer, this is what SDN is a promise, is just to separate the control plane from the data plane of the networks. And what we're trying is to separate the detection capabilities of a threat from the enforcement capabilities at the network level. So even if an application, for example, have detected a breach, it can still signal the networks and it can stop the attack down at the network level. So this is how we see the security is moving, especially now technologies as IoT, blockchain. There is no specific traffic flow, traffic behavior that we can predict at the network level in order to put a perimeter security on the network. So it is the network itself that has to stop the attacks. Thank you. Thanks.
Again, same thing. Thank you very much for delivering the short session. My point is, like you were mentioning about digital transformation, right? Digital transformation is basically a broader term. So it depends on the organizations how they want to take it up. So digital transformations means it can be a cloud migration, it can be a blockchain implementation, it can be some kind of artificial intelligence implementations, right? Do you have some, especially if you are looking at blockchain implementations and other things, there are a lot of kind of threats and risks are there, especially in the blockchain itself. If you're giving each block as a mutual consensus to update the block of information and other things, right? Similar way, if you're looking at IoT, you are taking a lot of external feeds also. What is there specific with Juniper in terms of if you're implementing blockchain, if you're implementing IoT platforms, or if you're bringing something on AI platforms, what is specific there with Juniper?
See, what we look at Juniper is what is the impact of a blockchain transaction on the network. So historically, the network has been built to do things that you know. So the data creation model, initially it was a user input, create data, get it done or stored into a server or a compute, and then it being processed by a certain application, another user will consume the data. So the traffic flow was easy to predict. So this is how you build the networks. If you look at the network today, it's a 3 layers access aggregation, for example, core, then data centers. So it is following how the application will behave over the networks. The blockchain have changed this complete thing, and IoT as well, because now you cannot predict, you cannot know who will contribute to a single blockchain transaction, right? And you don't know if that will be local to your networks or it will be multiple. For example, on the supply chain, the blockchain can actually certify the complete supply chain transaction, for example, on the oil and gas, from the production till the export till the billing, and everything can be a single blockchain transaction. Now, this has put a pressure on the networks, especially when it comes to security. First of all is the availability of the network to certify a blockchain transaction. It has to be very reliable, always on, in order to have the blockchain transaction. And then a security concern. Security today on the blockchain, that you need to predict where the traffic will go in order to secure it. And this is where our security strategy is splitting the detection from the enforcement come into play, so we can just configure a policy for each blockchain transaction, different policy into the network level to allow this or to block this while it is happening.
Actually, in most of the cases, like the artificial intelligence is playing a major role. If you're asking your competitor also, most of them are bringing that intelligence component with your firewall technology to understand based on the behavior or based on some, certain situations, or act intelligently, based on this artificial intelligence mechanism, right? What is your plan and pipeline?
And we look at artificial intelligence of machine learning different. Like to be able to predict a traffic behavior, that's something has been there for decades. And I wouldn't call it is a machine learning or an artificial intelligence. Well, our strategy when it comes to machine learning or artificial intelligence is to be able to predict when the network will go under attack.
No, behavior based on the, I'm saying not based on the user behavior or something, but the external threats or some symptoms for coming some threats, how to identify that?
Yeah, so we are doing the same. We have today built a cloud. So what we are trying to do at Juniper, because people see machine learning, people see clouds, IoT as a risk. We have seen them as an opportunity as an opportunity to build a better security, right? And all the vendors are doing that, which is machine learning. Machine learning is absolutely is the way, but what we are trying to take it into the next level, to be able to predict your networks when it will go under attack. What is the, again, it's based on an information extracted from the network, as we said, can be a certain application behavior or a traffic flow, but not only to identify if there is an attack, but also to tell you ahead of time that your network might be under attack at this specific time, based on machine learning, based on what's happening, what other attacks that are happening around the globe. So how to use the same technology in order to predict the security breach, the attacks before they actually happen. So this is how we utilize machine learning and artificial intelligence in order, and we have this concept of self-driving networks. And it uses, at its core, a machine learning in order to predict the network behavior, the network attacks, and how to configure the network to stop those attacks ahead of time before they do actually happen.
And as my colleague here said, security is number one issue.
Yeah.
You and your colleague, Mohammed and Daiman, I think Daiman, we're always talking about how secure you are from a network point of view.
Yeah.
But it's not the network from the endpoints of the server, for example.
Yeah.
It is the devices themselves. In IoT, for example, you have millions, hundreds of millions of devices that are connected to the network, and they are transforming data back and forth, yeah?
Absolutely.
To the servers, and then you say you have protection layers and stuff like that. But actually, you cannot deny there's trillions of dollars of loss because of data theft.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so when you tell us, Juniper, and I think Aruba did the same, and the rest, I don't see where is the collaboration between the software and the hardware or the network in building, let's say, a protocol to have secured layers on the devices level, not only on the server level. So you have end-to-end, full integrated security system. I don't see that, probably because of the competition. You want to produce, be pioneer in producing one technology, and then the other one want to maybe compete with you as fast. So you're compromising the quality, for your reputation.
Absolutely.
I'm the leader, or the other one is the leader. But at the end of the day, you are not looking at the total holistic view of the security for the solutions with the software. Every day there is hundreds of apps, are introduced.
Yeah.
The security should be built on the software as well. Why this is ignored by all of you guys?
No, it is not. Secure coding is the number one security measures. And the problem, it is reality.
On the software level.
On the application.
So the collaboration is not done. There isn't.
There are a few trials.
Tell me an example.
And there are, for example, CTA. The CTA is
with Microsoft, with let's say Oracle. Give me examples.
Yeah, it happens. For example, we release every Tuesday, Microsoft release their vulnerabilities on the operating system. They give it to the vendors.
This is a defensive way.
But
this is not
absolutely. It's not a proactive. It is not a proactive. It is a defense. So what we're trying really to do, I started this with the talk that
this question is
nobody,
for you, Haitham.
for the industry.
All your network colleagues.
For the industry. And I believe we are not doing, as vendors, the greatest job. Maybe this is, I answer. I don't want to look at other vendors as competitors.
Then if we go totally,
absolutely.
If we go totally digital, like smart cities, there's a big risk that there will be intruding, theft, and probably sabotaging, the integrity of your system.
So to answer, it is part of our.
This is really a high concern to everyone, and as my colleague said, security, and for me, security is number one.
And for us as well, and for us at Juniper as a vendor today, and we are creating this software layer that will allow the detection of the threats.
Is done on top of the network layer, not on the devices themselves, because you don't produce the devices.
On IoT devices, let me ask, on IoT devices in specific, there are a lot of trials to put it on the operating system level, right? It's not happening for one thing. Smart devices, IoT, for the adoption, there is some commercial also factor. Those devices has to be cheap. $2, $3, IoT sensors that will connect to the network and it will start pouring data. Like the bulbs or a small IoT sensors. To put securities at this device, at this cost, is not possible. A device, for example, a light bulb, where we will put security on this. So what we're trying to solve it by looking at the behavior and trying to understand if the behavior of this IoT sensors, is it the right behaviors or no?
Suppose I'm a chip, okay, and I had someone intrude me. He took my identity, and then he behaved with you normally, but it's not me, it's someone else. So what am I using from your security layer doing? Yeah?
Well, yeah, absolutely. If
I'm saying,
it's an identity theft, understand.
But at the end user, someone stole my identity. He penetrated and he took the identity. Every chip has a unique ID, right? Code.
Absolutely.
So if he took it, then he can go everywhere.
Yeah. And this becomes even more difficult.
You will not recognize it.
Absolutely. And this becomes very difficult when it comes
My
to healthcare, for example.
So,
Yeah.
my question
Please.
again.
Yeah.
Do you think it's a time for you guys as hardware network to work together, collaboration with the software people and build a comprehensive integrated security protocol, for example, standards and procedures? So then it is more secure?
I think we are trying. Everyone is trying. We are not there yet. And there are a lot of challenging from everyone. It's from a competition and a business side that we don't want to collaborate. This is one reason. And the other reason is a technology also challenges that it is very difficult also to work for everyone to work together, right? We just need a protocol layer,
So at the end
standard.
of the day, the victim is the
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's not the customers, it's the technology adoption. Sure.
Just I want to add something now. Huh? No, just it's an add-on on what we are talking about, that the solution will not come from the companies itself or from the vendors themselves. What we see in US, what they do is they implement a critical infrastructure strategy for their country. So what we need here in the region is to implement a critical infrastructure strategy for our countries. This will focus on the critical infrastructure. We talk about oil and gas, we talk about domes, we talk about electricity, we talk health care, we talk about everything. If we go to that strategy, I think we could go down from there, and we share the responsibilities between the government bodies to implement the right solution with the right vendor to get things done, to be done. And I think this is the answer of the question of my colleague.
But yeah, and still there will be some technology limitations, right? So technology is limited, and we are trying to build a better solutions that can support the governments or enterprises' vision into the digital transformations. What I believe the same, just to shadow what you have said, it is not only Juniper problem, it is much wider problem, and we should create, and one of the things we are talking about, for example, and if we want to go, why the protocols, for example, routing protocols, they only share, for example, reachability information, IPs, and not thread details. It can be done. And from a technology perspective, nothing stops a BGP as a routing protocols to have threat information sent between different ISPs or different organizations or different ecosystems within the data center or the enterprise. Nothing to stop it.
So if you can just echo our concern to the big players like yourselves.
Absolutely.
And then inshallah, one day we will see something progressing.
But this will not stop also the digital transformation journey. I wish you all a very successful journey as well. And better weekend. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Haytham, for your presentation, and thank you to our panelists for their amazing round.